If you sell a high ticket coaching program, a course, or any kind of info product, I'm going to show you how you can turn your email list into a 24/7 cash collecting machine so that you can optimize the return on your ad spend and consistently acquire new customers and clients in your sleep. Now, just for some reference, these are the same, what I'm about to show you are some of the same strategies that I've used with my 7 and 8 figure clients. Just to give you a few examples, I used this with a client in the real estate investment space. And from the from the end of March to what is now July 25th, they've done 224K in revenue from email alone. I use these strategies with one of the largest YouTubers in the BizOps space. And from the beginning of April to today, July 25th, we've done almost 360K in revenue. And then for a print-on-demand info product company, which is mostly low-ticket products, they do have one high-ticket product, but it's a lot of low-ticket stuff. We've done almost 112 grand in revenue from December till today. So these are just a few examples. All in all, I've used these strategies to generate almost $800,000 in email revenue in the last 7 months alone with my clients. Now, if you're wondering whether or not these strategies will work for you or if this is the right thing for you, here's a quick rundown. Who this is for is any coaches, course creators, and businesses that sell digital products or services. It's not to say this wouldn't work for physical products, but most of my experience is in the digital info product / services space. So that's what I'm going to be speaking to mostly. You want to have at least 1,000 email subscribers on your list. Obviously, you want to have a decent sized audience to work with so that you can actually promote to. And then a big one is you're consistently adding new emails to your list. Adding new emails is like the lifeblood to your list. The more emails you're bringing in, the more people you can promote to, and the fresher you're going to keep your list. Now, who this isn't for would be complete beginners. If you're just starting your business or you've never done email marketing before, you don't have any leads, anything like that, this is probably not going to be for you. There might be a few steps in here that would be helpful for you to pay attention to, but for the most part, you're not going to get a ton out of this because it's a few steps ahead of you. This is also not for businesses that have a smaller list of less than 1,000 people. Will these strategies work? Yes, but you're not going to get the most effectiveness out of them because of your smaller list. And then stagnant lists. So if you're not actively adding people to your list, whether that's through organic or paid ads, these strategies will work, but you're dealing with a smaller pool of people and it's a stagnant number. So you're not bringing any new blood into that system. And it's going to be harder to maximize your email ecosystem that way. So let's get right into it. Number one, you want to start with the right lead magnet. So you want to begin with the end in mind here. Whether it's a free ebook, a low ticket course, a webinar, or VSL opt-in, like whatever it is, that's the lifeblood of your list. That's what's getting people onto your list. And the right lead magnet can bring you a consistent flow of ready to buy leads. The wrong lead magnet can actually clog up your list with tire kickers and people who either A, can't afford your product, or B, have no intention of buying your product or service. So having the right lead magnet from the get-go is super, super important because that means you're going to be bringing the right people onto your list who have the capability and willingness to actually buy your stuff. So a perfect lead magnet is kind of doing 4 things. One, it's going to align with your highest offering. So think about your ultimate goal. Is it to sell a high-ticket coaching program, a high-ticket course, whatever it is, like even if it's just low-ticket products, think about what you're ultimately trying to sell that prospect and then work backwards from there. And you want to create alignment with that. So for example, if you have a high-ticket strength and conditioning program that mostly focuses on exercise programming, a lead magnet about fat loss recipes isn't going to be in alignment. You might bring a lot of people onto your list, but those people are going to be A, interested in fat loss, not getting stronger, and B, they're coming in off of a food recipe type of interest, not exercise related. So a better lead magnet would be a PDF report on the 5 best exercises to add 50 pounds to your back squat in the next 6 weeks. It's strength related, it's exercise related, and it's going to make the most sense with your highest offering. So the second thing a good lead magnet does is it attracts people with money. Not all leads are created equal, especially if you're selling high ticket. If you have a $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 plus program, you need people with money. So PWM. And here's where I see a lot of people go wrong. So I do a lot of work in the real estate investment space. And a common angle is something to the effect of discover how to invest in single family properties with no money down. That's a huge one. No money down, bad credit score, whatever it is, which is great because obviously, like, who wouldn't want to buy a real estate property for no money down? The only problem is you're kind of inherently attracting people who have zero cash, because the people that are going to be most attracted to that are the people that don't have any money whatsoever. So they'll come in on that lead magnet, they'll come in and they'll watch that webinar, and then you present them with an offer for a $2,500 or $5,000 program, and they have no money. So there are kind of two ways to solve this. First, you could take that same angle and change it to something like, discover how to invest in single family properties with as little as $2,500. This kind of angle change works really well in anything like investment or biz op related. If you're doing something in the print on demand space or you're drop shipping, like whatever it is, you can just change the tagline to with as little as, and then put kind of your base program cost. So that way you're bringing people in that are at least going to have $2,500. And then if you show them how to buy a house with no money down, that's fine. That $2,500 can be used to sign up for the coaching program or course or whatever it is. So again, the $2,500, change that to whatever your lowest cost is. Another option is to subliminally attract more advanced leads. Again, this works really well in the biz op space. Rather than creating a lead magnet that's very tailored to beginners, like getting their first property, starting their first business, whatever, you can create a lead magnet that shows people how to scale from 1 to 2 properties to 10 plus. You could create a lead magnet that shows people how to scale from 1 winning product in their dropshipping store to 5 winning products. And what you're doing there is you're inherently attracting people that are already getting started. They're likely already making money, which means they're going to have money to actually spend on your course, your coaching product, whatever it is. So those are kind of the 2 biggest ones that are going to take some thinking and some brainstorming on your end. The last 2 are super simple. 3, takes less than 10 minutes to consume. Make it as easy to consume as possible. People have very small attention spans, but we want them to actually go through the lead magnet and get value from it. Your 400-page ebook is probably not going to get read, especially if it's for free. The one exception to this being webinars or VSLs, which are still kind of like a lead magnet, but there's a reason they're watching this video so long, and they're written with the intent to be watched through and through. And then the 4th one is it actually provides value. Again, like, we want the prospect to consume the lead magnet and go through it. And at the end of the day, when they're done consuming it all, we want to position ourselves as the person that has the answer to all their problems. So it actually has to provide some sort of real value. Don't be afraid to kind of give away the house here, if you will. People are still going to want that extra level of help. They'll want that accountability, and they'll want that done for you aspect. So don't be afraid to kind of reveal some of your secrets here. So once you have the right lead magnet in place, you want to create the right tags and segments. Now, real quick, a tag is basically, it just tags a lead or an email contact based on specific traits, which we'll get into here in a second. And then a segment is a group of leads based on specific filters. So for example, down here I have engaged tag. I can create a segment of engaged prospects that all have that engaged tag. You can also do that in a bunch of different ways, but just to clarify the difference between the 2. But properly tagging your leads gives you maximum customization and the ability to send the right emails to the right person, which I'll touch on here in a little bit. Here's just a quick sample list of tags/segments that you should probably have in place. The first one that everybody absolutely needs is an engaged tag. So this is applied to anyone who has opened an email in the last 7 or 14 or 30 days. These are people that are your most engaged prospects. From there, you can create an engaged segment that you can send to with higher open rates, which is better for your email deliverability. You can even reward them with like special promos or early access to stuff, whatever. But these are like your most engaged people. These are going to be your best prospects outside of buyers, which leads us into the next tag, purchasers. Anytime somebody purchases anything, product, service, whatever from you, make sure you tag them properly, whether that's a low ticket product, an entry-level coaching option, like whatever it is, you want to tag them appropriately so that you can separate them, and then you can create segments and send emails to them to upsell them or cross-sell them. So if they bought a low-ticket product, you can then upsell them to whatever is next in line. If they brought, if they're in the weight loss space and they bought a recipe book, you could cross-sell them a dessert recipe book or something else. You could cross-sell them anything that makes sense. But these are going to be your highest quality leads because they've already spent money with you. So they're much more likely to spend more money with you in the future. Now, the other one is kind of cool. It's called an interest related tag. So you can tag people based on the kind of lead magnet they came in, or if they clicked on specific links that indicate that they have like a specific interest. So for example, if you're selling multiple types of real estate investment products, like a wholesaling product, a commercial real estate property product, Airbnb arbitrage, and you're sending promo emails promoting these different products, you can tag users who click on links specifically for those products. So for example, if I send a promo email promoting my wholesaling product and I have a bunch of people click on that link, I can tag them as, wholesaling. And from there, I can send them more content about wholesaling because they've clearly shown an interest in that. I can follow up with them. I can send them a new wholesaling product or content that speaks very specifically to that interest. Another example is if I have a lead magnet that speaks specifically to the pain point, like one specific pain point. So back to like the weight loss stuff, if I have a lead magnet that speaks specifically to the pain point of, sticking to the diet plan, having consistency, stuff like that, I can send them content specifically related to diet / being consistent with their diet, whether that's free recipes, accountability coaching, or just a story that I'm telling that's going to relate really well to that particular interest because they came in on a lead magnet like that. Versus if they came in on the lead magnet about adding 50 pounds to the back squat, I'm going to want to send them more strength related stuff, exercise related stuff, things of that nature. Another one is customer journey related tags. Now this is going to be highly dependent on your particular business. Example, if you have a book call funnel, you're going to want to tag people that have actually booked calls. You're going to want to tag people that are no-shows. You're going to want to tag people who showed but didn't buy, etc. Lay out your customer journey and then tag every step of the way appropriately, because here I can create a sequence that specifically follows up with people who didn't show for their call to try and get them to reschedule. If they showed but didn't buy, I can create a tailored follow-up sequence, under the context of like, hey, I know you talked to one of our reps, but you didn't buy, and I can overcome objections. I can layer on more social proof. I could offer them a special offer if I want to do that. I have a lot of customization and flexibility there. Another example would be if you have a webinar funnel. You want to tag people who have registered, people who have actually attended, people who no-showed, people who watched the replay if you have one, or people who maybe watched the webinar, saw the call to action, but didn't buy. And again, what this allows me to do is set up several different sequences, which I'll touch on here in a minute, related to the individual path and where they are on that path. Now, some other potential tagging situations, there's kind of an endless list of different ways you could tag, but you can tag unengaged prospects. So if people haven't opened an email from you in 30 to 60 days, you can tag them as unengaged, and then you can even put them through a re-engagement sequence. If you have some sort of continuity offer, you can tag churned customers, so people who canceled their membership, canceled their coaching program, whatever. You can use the win-back sequence below, which I'll go over with you. And then you could do it based on individual email clicks. I'm going to talk about more of this in the bullet campaign, which I'm going to get to a little later. And then abandoned carts. So people who, especially for like a lower ticket product, but even with your higher ticket stuff, they make it to the checkout, but they don't finish the job. You're going to want to tag them so then you can appropriately put them through an abandoned cart sequence. All right, so the next part, now that we've got everything tagged, we've got everything segmented appropriately, we're going to want to set up the right email sequences. Some people call them autoresponders, kind of the same thing. It's just whatever you want to call it. This is like when you can truly turn your list into a money-making machine, because these autoresponders, these sequences, they're going to be sending emails 24/7. It's 100% automated, all on your behalf. And it gives you an option or an ability to really create an ecosystem that leaves no stone unturned, so that every lead that you get, every email contact you get, has every possible chance to buy whatever you're selling. So here are some of the basics, email sequences you should have in place. Just a little note, like not every sequence here is going to apply to your business. A lot of it depends on your offer stack and what kind of offer you have. The first one is a welcome sequence. So this is the initial sequence that a lead gets from you after opting in for your newsletter or your lead magnet, your webinar, VSL, whatever. It's typically 5 to 7 emails long. What you're doing there is you're briefly indoctrinating them into your brand. So it's a little bit of like, hey, here's who we are, here's who I am. And then you're immediately moving them to the next step, which is to book a call, watch the webinar, buy the product, whatever that logical next step is for them. You want to funnel their attention into moving in that direction. After that, your post-offer sequence. So this is a sequence that you send like after your lead has seen your offer. Again, that could be on the back of a VSL, it could be on the back of a webinar, but they've already been or a booked call. Like they've already been presented the offer. For whatever reason, they said no. And the sole job of this sequence is get them back to the checkout and get them to finish what they started. So how long this sequence is depends on a few different factors. If you have some sort of urgency, like a price increase or a limited time discount, limited spaces in your program, you're going to want the sequence to match the length of the promo. So if you have special pricing for 72 hours, this sequence is probably only going to be 72 hours long because you're going to want to match it with the specific promo that you're running. If there is no promo related urgency, you can make this sequence anywhere from 5 to 30 plus emails long, where you're overcoming objections, you're sharing customer wins or testimonials, you're providing social proof, and you're just consistently following up. But yeah, it's kind of up to you on how long you want to make it there. Another sequence, so again, this is going to be very dependent on your particular business, would be a downsell sequence. So let's say they didn't buy your $2,000 course. Cool. What else can you sell them? So what else can you downsell them to or cross-sell them to? Maybe you have a lower ticket course for $297. Great. Now we're going to shift them into a sequence that essentially promotes the next thing. Or what I have done in the past is offered a discount on the original product. So if everybody went through the post-offer sequence, they didn't buy your $2,000 course, you might do a downsell sequence where you offer it to them for $997 for a limited time. But if you're not going to do that and you're going to sell them like a lower ticket option, it essentially gets them the ability to kind of get their feet wet before they dive right in. Especially if you're using paid ads, not everybody's going to be ready to spend $2,000 with you right off the bat or however much your program costs. So this is a way to get them to spend some level of money with you, and then you can ascend them eventually on the back end. Typically, I keep this email between 5 to 10 emails long, this sequence, and I usually like to attach a deadline promo to it. So like right now, you can grab this mini course for only $27 instead of the usual $97, or if you want to discount your high ticket program, however you want to do that is totally up to you. And then the last two sequences are ones I've kind of mentioned. The abandoned cart sequence, super simple. If someone makes it to the checkout but they don't buy, you're going to send them 2 to 4 abandoned cart emails, just reminding them to go back and finish what they started. You can keep these, I've done them 2 ways. You can keep them short and clicky, which is like, hey, something went wrong with your order. I noticed you didn't get a chance to finish it. Click here to finish buying XYZ. Or you can make them longer and you can overcome objections. You can provide social proof. You can do all these things and have a little more selling involved in it. A lot of that is probably going to depend on the price point of your product. Your win back sequence, the last one we'll run through. This is perfect for like continuity programs, like a membership or coaching offer. If someone cancels their membership / coaching, you'll want to send them a promo sequence with an offer to come back. Typically, you want to give them some sort of discount or maybe a free bonus, however you want to play it. So an example would be like you could take 33% off your next month of XYZ membership or coaching. I like to keep the timeline for these promos super short, less than 5 days, like probably 3 to 5 days is usually the best way. But yeah, so there's a lot of sequences there. You don't have to set all these sequences up at once, but over time you're looking to kind of build out your full ecosystem of sequences that are constantly working to convert customers for you. All right, number 4 is what I call the R3 principle. This one isn't so much tactical as it is thoughtful. You want to send the right email to the right person at the right time. And there are 2 ways to look at this. You can look at this purely from a marketing perspective, or you can look at it from a technical perspective, and ideally you want to do both. From a technical perspective, you want to send the right emails to the right people using the appropriate tags. Again, if I've had a lead or a prospect that's clearly shown interest in wholesaling, I want to send them more wholesaling stuff. I don't want to start sending them emails about commercial real estate because they're less likely to buy. So use your tags, use your segments, and get really targeted with the emails that you send. Now, from more of a marketer's perspective, you always want to be thinking about, what the conversation in your prospect's mind is and what are they experiencing / thinking on a daily, weekly, monthly, or even seasonal basis. Good example is weight loss. So on a Monday morning, most people who are interested in losing weight are kicking themselves in the butt because they binge ate over the weekend, or maybe they drank and their weight's up, or they're bloated or whatever, and they feel like they've lost all their progress. Now is a great time to send them content that relieves them of that guilt and lets them know it's not their fault, right? Because you just didn't know XYZ thing, and you can attach your unique mechanism to it, whatever. And you want to send them an offer that has a solution for that specific pain that they're experiencing more on a Monday versus they're not going to be experiencing the same thing on a Thursday or Friday. On a Friday, you might want to send them content about, how they can lose weight over the weekend, how they can lose weight while still eating pizza, like whatever is relevant. From a seasonal standpoint, like the holidays is a big time, obviously New Year's for weight loss, but close to Thanksgiving, you could send them content about, I use this specific supplement or this specific workout plan. It allows me to lose 5 to 10 pounds over the holidays while I still have pumpkin pie at every single party I go to, and that kind of thing. And obviously that makes much more sense in November than it does in July. So just be thinking about, what your prospect is going through on a daily, weekly, monthly type of basis. But yeah, and always ask yourself, like, is this the right email for this person at this time? If it is, go ahead and send it. Now, the fifth one, now that we've got kind of some of the automated, some of the high level stuff out of the way, we're going to get into the actual promos that you can send. So the first one is, I just call this a newsletter promo. This is after a lead completes your sequence, they need somewhere to go. I call this the main list. So this is all your contacts that have completed their sequences. And now they go into like a newsletter list where they're getting current emails that I'm sending out on a weekly basis. And no, these are not like the boring, like three-page long, like newsletter emails you get from your chiropractor office that's got a bunch of pictures and weird articles and stuff. These are just like your regular programming emails that you send throughout the week. You can send them, I would say at a minimum 2 times per week. Ideally, you're sending close to, if not every day. I usually do like a Monday through Friday schedule just because people are typically busy on the weekends, with the exception of when I'm running like a specific promo or sale. If you don't know what kind of emails to send, here are a few ideas of some different angles you can take. You can tell a story. You can break a limiting belief. You can shift a paradigm of theirs. You can overcome a common objection, or you can provide some sort of social proof. So like case study, testimonial, before and after picture, all that kind of stuff. But now the next question, which is number 6, is, how often should you sell in these emails? Believe it or not, you can sell every day. I have plenty of clients that I pretty much I attempt a sale every single day. For example, if I write a story-driven email, there's a valuable lesson in that story, and then I pitch my service or product at the end. It works because even if they don't buy the product or service, they still get value from the email. They still get value from the story. They still get value from the lesson. I always try and keep it entertaining so that nobody's going to get mad because then you pitched a product at the end. And if they did, they probably shouldn't be on your list, because at the end of the day, like, we're here to make money, right? If you're looking for a more conservative approach, I like a 50-50 split between selling and value-driven emails. You can do this on like a week-to-week basis. So you could run a promo the first week of the month, and then the second week of the month, it could be all value. You can kind of undulate it throughout the week. So on Monday, you're selling. On Tuesday, you're sharing a free YouTube video. On Wednesday, you're selling. And then on Thursday, you're providing, free content, helping them out. However you want to organize that, it's kind of up to you, and it depends on what your specific style is. So those are kind of how you handle the newsletter emails. Some specific types of promos you can run. The first one is what I call a reply promo, which, think about it this way, like, how much easier would it be to sell your high ticket service, your program, your coaching course, like whatever it is, if people just raised their hands and showed some interest? It'd be a lot easier. Like if you had, out of 1,000 people, if you had 100 people raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in this thing, it'd be a lot easier to close those 100 people than flying blind with 1,000. So this is kind of where the reply emails come into play. I'll give you a quick example here. This is something I wrote for a client. Obviously, I'm Zach. So this is a test email. Subject line is curious. And it's just curious, Zach, what kind of franchises are you looking at right now? Or have you not started looking yet? And when somebody replies to this email, I can then close them in the email replies. I can go back and forth, kind of like you would do in a DM, or I can book them on a call, like whatever's going to make the most sense for your business. With this particular client, there's kind of a high level of financial qualification needed. So we typically go the booked call route, but it's totally up to you. Ultimately, the goal with this email is purely to start a conversation. It's very, very easy for them to say, oh, I'm looking at blah, blah, blah franchise, or I haven't even started looking at franchises yet. I just want to get them to start a conversation. From there, I can direct that conversation wherever I need it to go. If they're looking at a specific franchise, I know how to handle that conversation. If they haven't even started looking at a franchise yet, I know that they might not be the right customer for us based on where they're at in their journey. And then I'm moving that conversation towards the close. Whatever the close is for you might be different. The close initially might just be a booking a call with them or getting them on a low ticket product because they're not ready for the high ticket product. This is definitely a more personalized promo. It takes a lot more hands-on work because you're dealing with replies and stuff, but it can be super, super effective. And if you're not booking calls, it can be a great way to sell high ticket stuff without booking any calls. So here are some sample questions you can ask. Like obviously replace this with whatever is relevant to your business and your people. But are you still in, this is like the most basic one. Are you still interested in blank achieving your main result? Are you still interested in making money online? Are you still interested in investing in real estate? Are you still interested in losing weight? Whatever it is. This one's a super basic one, but it works like a charm. Another one is, what's your number one question when it comes to relevant topic? So it could be, what's your number one question when it comes to losing the baby weight? What's your number one question when it comes to finding the right product to sell? Anything like that, whatever's relevant to your business. And then what's your biggest niche goal right now? This one you're going to have to rework a little bit, but like, what's your biggest health goal right now? What's your biggest dating goal right now? What's your biggest business goal right now? This will give you a real good indicator of, and it's essentially giving you ammo, because when people say, if I say, hey, what's your biggest dating goal right now? And somebody responds and they go, oh, well, I want to try and get 2 dates a week. And it's like, okay, cool. Now when I'm having these replies with them, I can repeat that back to them verbatim and be like, cool, well, XYZ program is going to help you start to get your 2 dates a week in as little as, a month, whatever it is. And I'm giving them exactly what they're asking for. And then the last one is a little more direct. You'll probably get less hands raised, but they're going to be higher qualified hands. And it's, if I personally helped you blank achieve desired result, lose weight, make money, get more dates, would you be interested? And then bada boom. So feel free to modify those to your business, your offer. The big thing is like this email should be like 2 to 4 lines max. Keep it short, keep it personal. It should feel like you just pulled out your phone and sent this email right to the prospect. All right. Number 8 in the checklist is bullet promos. Little caveat, I did not personally come up with bullet promos. That's a coined phrase from Todd Brown. And so, but they're super effective, so I wanted to share them with you. Bullet promos are basically an excellent way to aggressively sell to your audience without burning out your list. And it's really cool the way they work. Basically, a bullet promo it starts off with an email that gauges interest in a product or service. And then you're going to follow up with everyone who shows interest. So this kind of goes back to the tagging we were talking about. Here's an example email that I wrote for a client. Being successful is not about collecting more useless information. You don't need more information. You need a system to follow, which is why I put together this free video. In this video, I lay out my online income system that anyone can use to generate $1,000 online. Even if you've never made any money online, have no experience, or think you're too young. This particular audience was very young. I'll show you the simplest and easiest way to make money online. Click here to discover my simple online income system. And then a PS with a call to action. The big thing here is I'm calling out a specific audience that's interested in a specific goal. So it's young people who want to make money online, specifically $1,000 online. Anybody who clicks on any of the links in that email is then going to get 2, 3, 4 follow-up emails from me in a separate autoresponder. So the cool thing here is if 100 people see that email, if 40 of them click on that email, now anybody who clicks on a link in this email is going to get a follow-up series, usually 2 or 3 emails long. So the cool thing is if I have, let's say 100 people see this email, 20 people click on the email, I can now separate them. So the 80 people that didn't show any interest aren't going to hear about it anymore, at least right now. And the 20 people who did show interest are going to get several follow-ups to it. And what this allows me to do is hard sell to the people who have shown interest in it, because no one's going to get mad if you ask them more about a product that they've already shown interest in, and leave the other 80%, or however many it is, alone that haven't shown any interest in it. So I can hard sell to my list without burning out the people who just aren't interested in it. A typical, like a traditional bullet campaign runs on some sort of special promo. So you can get 70% off for the next 72 hours. You can get this free bonus when you sign up in the next 48 hours or whatever. And then you're aligning that bullet campaign, those follow-up emails, with that specific promo. If you're not interested in giving a special deal, you can just use the additional emails to overcome objections, showcase social proof, or pre-sell your offer even more before they get to the sales page. And it's just a way to kind of politely pester them to go back and buy. And again, this is a great way to sell constantly to your list without burning out your list and ruining your email health, which we'll touch on in a little bit. And again, like, nobody's going to get mad at you about trying to sell them a product that they showed interest in. So number 9, now we're kind of getting to the less sexy but extremely important stuff. First one is regularly cleaning your list. The health of your email list is absolutely crucial, especially here in 2024 after Google's made all these changes. Like, taking top care of your email health list, or email list health, is super, super important. If you have hundreds or even thousands of fake or unsubscribed leads on your list, not only are you paying more for your email service provider because your contact number is higher, but your open rates will be skewed. If you have 20% of people on your list who gave you a fake email, that's going to throw off your open rates. If you have 10% of your list that has never opened a single email from you, it's not really giving you an accurate open rate when you're sending a newsletter email, because those people have never opened anything. So what you're going to want to do at least once a month is clean your list. And there's a couple ways you can do this. Sometimes you might have to do both. The simplest one that you should absolutely do every single month is go through your list. Anybody who hasn't opened an email in the last 30 to 60 days should either go through in a re-engagement sequence, like we talked about in the number 2 on this checklist, or be unsubscribed from your list. If they do go through in an unengaged or re-engagement sequence and they still haven't opened an email, then unsubscribe them. If you don't want to deal with that, or you don't know how to do that, anybody who hasn't opened your email from you in 30 plus days, you can probably just kick them to the curb and unsubscribe them from your list. That'll save you some money in terms of your total contacts. And then it'll also give you a better representation of what your actual open rates and click rates are like. The 30 to 60 days thing is kind of entirely up to you. 60 days is definitely the max, because if somebody hasn't opened an email from you in 60 days, that's probably not going to change. If you wanted to do a happy medium of 45, that's cool. If you have a good size list and you're constantly adding new contacts in, you could probably go on the low end of 30 days. And if they haven't opened an email in 30 days, push them through a re-engagement sequence and then unsubscribe them if they don't open anything. Now, if you feel like you have a lot of fake leads or fake emails on your list, or you have a high bounce rate, stuff like that, you can use a service like Zero Bounce. I have no affiliation. This is just one of the ones that you can use. They'll clean your list, they'll validate all the emails, and then you can remove any unvalidated or fake or spam emails from your list, which will A, improve your email health, B, improve your open rates, and C, make your list smaller so that you don't have to pay as much for your email service provider. This one, if you have fairly good open rates and you don't really have a reason to suspect that you have a bunch of dead leads on your list or fake leads on your list, then I wouldn't worry about using this one. So this one's totally optional. All right, we're almost to the end. Number 10, deliverability checks. Again, your email list health is super important. So once your list is clean, you're going to want to run regular deliverability checks. I could write an entirely separate doc, make a whole separate video on email list deliverability. I'm just going to try and give you the quick and dirty here. The simple solution is you go to mailgenius.com, follow the instructions, then it'll basically generate a deliverability report for you. All you're going to have to do is send a test email in your email service provider with the unique email address that they give you. And then you're going to get a report that looks like this, right? So this is your overall score, and then it breaks down areas that you're passing, areas that might be an issue, and areas that are for sure being an issue. Some of the more important factors to look at here. Number one is your DMARC, DKIM, and SPF. These are all set up under your domain, especially with Google's new changes. Like, these must be in place or you'll end up in the spam. If you have trouble setting these up, if you aren't sure how to do it, you can drop me a note and I can help you out, or you can just Google it and it's fairly, intuitive. The second big factor is your email server IP address. So like that's what you see right here. Unfortunately, a lot of this is out of your control unless you have a private IP that you're sending from. This is based on like the email service provider you're using. So if you use Aweber or ActiveCampaign or Keep or HubSpot, like whatever, and you're like that particular email service provider, the shared IPs that they're using might be listed on black sites or blacklists, and it might be wise to switch email service providers. If it's listed on quite a few blacklists and it is affecting your deliverability, then you might want to switch to a new email service provider. Number three, this is a huge factor. It's your domain health. It's not shown on this report up above. It's a separate thing that you're going to have to do. But if your SPF, DKIM, and DMARC are all good, you aren't listed on any blacklights, and you're still struggling with your deliverability, it could be a issue of the domain health. So you can go to postmaster.google.com. You can check the health of your domain. If it is bad, you kind of have two options. A, you can either work to improve your domain health, which would include sending to more engaged segments to kind of poof up your open rates, cleaning out your list, things like that. Or you can just switch to a new domain. So, you can just buy a new domain and you can send from that domain instead. If you're going to do that, make sure you warm up your new domain first. Do not just swap the email domain out and then send to it, and then you're going to trash that one immediately. This whole step is not something that should take lightly. The best email in the world, it's not going to make any sales if nobody sees it. So take your deliverability seriously. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a comment and I'll be happy to help. And then the last one, you got to track and optimize, right? You got to TL your list. You'll want to track the obvious KPIs like opens and clicks, but you also want to use UTMs or a software like Hyros or ClickMagick or something to track your book calls and your sales. So that way you know how well your emails are actually performing, because a high open rate's cool, a lot of clicks are cool, but if it's not ending up, generating sales or booked calls, it's kind of a waste of time, right? And it just makes you feel better, but it's not actually making the cash register ring. So once you do track your sales, once you are tracking everything, then you can look to optimize. The biggest lever you can pull here is you can optimize your email sequences, because those are constantly being sent to new leads. You're going to be able to see consistent difference in terms of the split test that you run or whatever, and they're working for you 24/7. So you want to make sure those are fully optimized. But with your newsletters, you can also track and optimize things as well. So you can split test your subject lines, and then you can keep track of, is it curiosity-driven subject lines that work? Is it specificity? Is it, shock and awe type of stuff, clickbaity stuff? You can start to figure out patterns of what subject lines work really well. And then, if you're tracking all the sales, you can see do shorter, clickier emails work, or do longer story style emails work? I have a client that I basically run tests. I've written longer story style emails where, you're overcoming objections and you're doing a little more selling in the email. And I've written short clicky style emails, and the short clicky style emails blow it out of the water. They do significantly better. But on the flip side, I've had other clients where longer emails, where you're doing more selling in the email, works better. You can only know that if you're tracking and then you're optimizing and you're noticing patterns. Ultimately, the goal is always to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And that's all she wrote. That is your 11-step checklist to take your email list and turn it into a cash collecting machine that is consistently bringing you new clients, new customers 24/7. Now, if you want the full doc of this, you want the full breakdown and the YouTube video and all that stuff, you can just click the link in the description below. You're going to opt into my email list, and then you'll get it. I'll send you this PDF so you can copy and paste it. You can make your own copy, do whatever you want. If you want my help implementing any and or all of this into your business, just send me an email to zach@zachlohner.com and say the word cash, and then I will shoot you all the details, get to know you and your business, and we will go from there.